welcome to the second episode of Not Just Fading Away Like the Rest of Them with David Norman and professional podcaster Josh Jacobowski. Josh, say hi.
What's going on? Yes, this is my 1.1 episodes that I've done, so I'm definitely a professional now. Here we go.
He's in the recording studio now.
Yeah, professional setup.
Yeah, professional setup. There you go.
Podcast in, I just made that switch.
So, for anyone who hasn't checked out the first episode, make sure you do that. We discussed Instill as well as Nuvola Scura, as we usually go back in time, check out a release from Josh's perspective, and then we fast forward to more present times, and I do the same thing from my perspective. So, you were talking before we got the camera rolling here about Instill, and I was saying that I hadn't checked it out yet because I haven't gone through the old podcast yet. And that I am excited to re-listen to it because I remember when you showed me, I was very stoked. So I'll probably come back next episode with more like, oh, I listened to more and still these are my favorite tracks and stuff. But what did you have to say about it?
Yeah, and like we were saying before, like the entire point of my perspective on this is like there's a lot of great stuff that like has kind of been forgotten almost, and I think it should be celebrated. And I just want people to be aware of it, you know what I mean? Because I think the whole resurgence with all this stuff with the my bands and all the page 99 and all that stuff, it's cool. Like I think people should know the stuff that influenced that as well. You know, it's a whole lineage of stuff. You know, and it's not just our bands. I mean, that's what I'm all about. Like you know, the thing with Hal, that's what it was all about. It's just like, oh, dude, the bands before us were really the bands that kind of go.
It's a lineage situation, one could say.
Oh man, it's
inside screamo Neil Perry joke. Sorry.
No, but it really is like that. You know, I see it like
that. I think that's a very interesting point because you're asking me, do people still talk about Instill often? Yeah. And like straight up compared to like Orchid, Page 99, the other bands that you just mentioned, no, they're pretty much not brought up, which further reinforces the fact that this is something that we should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tom's band, and Tom's hasn't really stopped, right? I mean, he's been going strong, so it's still relevant in that way.
You know? Yeah, I'm a super fan, and I didn't even know, or I just hadn't gone back to check.
But and that's the thing; it's like, dude, Tom has a lot of bands, right? But like, it goes back even further. The dude was doing it in high school. Apparently, so I saw Casey yesterday. We're working on our stuff, and he actually said that Tom was younger than the rest of the band. He was, I think, 16. Or like 15 when he was in the band. Yeah, like the rest of the guys were a little older, like there were seniors going into college or something. But like, yeah, like Tom was like super young. Tom, I think, is my age. Like I think he's like 45, 44 or something.
Yeah, he's like 2 years older than me, so that sounds about right.
Okay, yeah, because I like all the dudes that were so sick at the time that were my age. I was like so jealous. Like Brodsky, like he's my age. That dude is so talented. He's so talented, full-fledged singer. You know,
he's the man. 100%.
He's incredible. You know. So Tom was the same way. It's like, yeah, Tom can do everything.
Right? I think it should also be noted that no one in the history of the world has the track record, and I don't just mean amount of bands, but every single band that Tom has been in is amazing. Like there's absolutely no like, oh well, he had like those 3 good bands and then there was like that meh band. Like no, everyone slaps.
Were you an Assistant fan?
Oh, good God, yes.
Yeah, so here's a cool story. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but the drummer Ross is a friend of mine and he's in the new Casey project.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, so we recorded a bunch of songs with a different drummer, this guy Ricardo, who's sick as hell. And he's kind of busy. He's like a professional drummer. He's playing with Lucy Dacus and all this stuff. So he's busy. And Ross has been playing with us and recording a song, and he's amazing. So, dude, it's pretty. How cool is that?
That's amazing.
He's
true.
Dude, he's like he owns a restaurant, like a vegan restaurant. And he's incredible at doing that. Like forget the drums. Like the guy is so talented. It's unbelievable. Like I'm his biggest fan. Like incredible.
I want to go check that out. Yeah, that's nuts. Do you have any more info? It's only been 2 weeks since our last conversation, but do you have any more info regarding that project?
Well, yeah. So it's been drawn out because like Casey's busy and I'm kind of busy. So we've been pretty like on it. Like almost every weekend we'll get together and track a little bit and mix a little bit. But now we're at the point where we're like, all right, we got to get this finished. So we're just in mixing stage. We have like a couple vocals to do, a couple more guitars to do, and then we're done, and then we can get it done. So we're trying to mix it. Once it gets mixed, then we'll have like an album, and we'll actually be able to do some stuff. Put it online, put it on Spotify, do the whole thing.
Is it going to be a digital mostly release where you kind of like finish the
We
mixes and
I
haven't
haven't
talked about it?
really thought about the release side. I mean, Casey has a Spotify thing where he can put stuff on Spotify, so we can get it up there. But I would love to do something. I mean, I think both he and I are very out of the loop as far as like what's going on with labels and what even happens now when you have a record to put out. You know, but I know, yeah, totally, yeah. We're gonna have to discuss that off camera. Make
Yeah.
sure the numbers are good. Gotta work the numbers out.
Give me the money, Josh. Give me the money.
It's he's a professor at college. Like he's got a whole career, and I sort of do. I do too, but so it's fun for us still. Like, we don't give a shit. We just want to have fun and like shit, we'll put it out, like let's do it, like that's just kind of how I've always approached all of that stuff. Like that's how the Oh No No guy did that LP.
Adam Oh No No.
Yeah. Do you know Adam?
I do. He's the one who got me into Junpei and the Flying Worker because he was at the Hot Cross show in Toronto and was distroing and
no shit.
And was just like, oh, you like those bands? Check out these. Oh, he also sold me the Ruheda 12-inch, and I'd never heard of them. So like, I came home, Ruheda, Flying Worker, and who else did I say? Junpei.
Dude, that's hilarious. At the Toronto show, because I think I met him at the Montreal show. I could be wrong.
I think he hopped on. I think because he was from Montreal, he hopped on and came with you to Toronto.
Okay.
Or followed you. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I met him on that tour. But no, here's a cool guy. I just met him once, but that's kind of how I was with stuff. Like I was always, if you're gonna do it legitimate, go for it.
Yeah, he definitely had the passion for it.
That's cool.
A crazy, very important person in my life that I met for like 20 minutes. But was very impactful. Very, very impactful.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I didn't know. How old is he? Is he kind of our age, like in that range?
Yeah. I feel like he would have been maybe even. Yeah, like he's got to be hovering around 40s now, if not a tad over.
It's not important. I was just kind of curious about where he might have been in his life, kind of thing. So
it's such a long time ago. Yeah.
No, I mean, what year was that? 2000?
That was right. It was
dude. I'm so
right
bad
before you left. So it would have been to 2005. It was when you toured with Holy Shroud.
At the end. See, I'm horrible. I don't know shit. I'm so bad with years.
I feel like it was 2005.
Time to me, it's fucking retarded. That's hilarious.
Okay, let's do it. I am super curious as to what this band is, why you chose them. Give me the deets.
Okay,
give me the details.
So the Almighty, you probably know this band. I hope you do. The Almighty Endeavor from New Brunswick, New Jersey, my friend.
You're gonna have to school me.
Endeavor, okay. Very cool. So they were. I don't know if you caught the Hal thing, but I talked about it. They were huge. Like I saw them live at this crazy show, and I literally was on the way home like, I want to do something like that. Like whatever that was, because I never saw something so powerful live. Because like the pop punk shows, they're fun, but not a lot of bands are like real great. Like just blow they blew me away, man. The singer is Mike Olander. He was the singer of Burnt by the Sun.
Oh, okay.
Band.
Is that the band that turned into Daughters?
No. This was
I'm thinking of a different band.
Endeavor. They were like, I think they all went to Rutgers at the time, and then he later did Burnt by the Sun with Dave Whitty, and I think the bass player, I forget his name, was in Human Remains, I believe.
Okay.
So, and then they were on Relapse. They were a pretty big band, but they were incredible. They were great. So he did that after. And they were, super political guy, smart, super smart guy, the singer Mike. And he went to college. All the lyrics are political lyrics, and they were amazing. And the cool thing is they were heavy, but they weren't like tough guy heavy. It was more, I'm trying to think, kind of like Struggle, from California, kind of. I'm trying to think would have directly influenced them, but they were great. And the record that I wanted to talk about was their first, I believe it was their first LP, Crazier Than a Shithouse Rat. Dude, and you'll see when you check it out, like another huge influence on me with like the song titles. They always had cool songs. Like one of their song titles was Rowdy Roddy Piper's Pot Pie. I mean, yeah, Room Service Butterflies, again with like the playful names. So like, okay, you can have fun with the song titles. Okay, like which we did. And then the other cool thing they did was they had samples all over the record. And I love samples, just like from like TV shows and it made the record super, like it made it badass. Because they'd have like a crazy sample and then it kicks in. And it's just like, oh, the sample made that, like it was the intro almost, just made it more powerful. And I love samples. And if you hear the Neil Perry stuff, there's samples on that stuff. And I'm a big sample guy. You and I did a lot of samples.
Did we talk about it last episode about how Graf Warlock is the best, or did we not talk about that yet?
No, I don't know. I know Graf Warlock. I don't. Did they do samples?
That's their thing. That's their.
Okay.
It's
cool.
like they choose one or two things from a movie. They play the clip. They do the song. All the lyrics are about that movie and are pulled from direct dialogue quotes.
So that's really cool. So they have. I'll check it out. But so they'll have it like before or interwoven with the song.
Always one at the very start, and oftentimes a tiny snippet in the middle, right before like a breakdown or something like that.
Right. They're European, right?
No, they're from Los Angeles.
Okay, dude, that's right. See, just the creativity with that I appreciate that. Like that, and they're having fun with it,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's not like we need to make a smart decision. They're just having fun and doing cool shit. Like that.
Awesome. I did a podcast with a guy, and he told me that the reason why they did it was because at first they didn't have a singer, and they didn't want to have to banter between songs.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's what started it, and then all of a sudden there's two vocalists. So
I love it, and now it's a part of their band, and it's a part of it. Like that's super cool.
He even said he's like, that's our shtick. Like, there's no doubt about it.
One EP with Greg, Level Playing.
Yes, they did.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool, dude. That's awesome. So they have a bunch of shit I got to check out.
Oh yeah, they got so much stuff. They literally broke up last year. At the end of last year, they put out a lot of stuff. Pardon me?
Did you do anything with them?
No, I've just been a fanboy.
That's awesome. No, that's cool, man. Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember because towards the end of Level Playing, like Greg got into a lot of heavier stuff and like straight metal stuff, and
like this is called cinema grind because of the whole movie aspect of it.
Genre, wow.
But okay, let's get back to Endeavor though. What year did this come out? Because I'm trying to place this in terms of when Graf Warlock
came out in '96. And the other interest, there's actually a bunch of interesting things about this band and this record particularly. But are you familiar with Ferret Records and Trustco Records? So
Every Time I Die, Hopes Fall.
Yeah, pretty big, right?
Oh,
so they're both from New Jersey, and Mike, I believe, went to high school with both of those guys. So they put out records on Ferret and Trustkill, which really, they weren't really a part of that scene. A little bit, they would play with Harvest and stuff like that. But like they kind of were, I don't know. I guess they eventually ended up in that scene, but they weren't like a tough guy. They were just like a great hardcore, So that's interesting. So they put stuff out on big labels like on Trustkill, Ferret. They played huge shows. They played with Snapcase, and, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so all right. So I'm gonna play. The song is Fire Drill. First song on the record. Crazier than a Shithouse Rat, full length.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, let's do that, and then we shall come back.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let me
Hell yeah. Okay, so I I heard one super obvious thing.
Okay.
I'm so certain that this band influenced Shai Hulud. Like that has to be correct, right?
That would
Because
make the timeline would make sense.
like they released Heart Once Nourished or whatever that one
Yeah,
is, the one
that's like
that
the
before
ground. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blood Ill Tempered. That
I know what you're talking about.
that I never knew. I didn't know that
That
Shai
is
Hulud was
so, no, I
obviously an
never made that
Endeavor fan.
connection. I never made that connection. But that dude, Matt Fox, is that his name? Matt
Yes.
Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah. He, I believe, is like he has some connection with the Northeast. So he might have there might be a thing there for sure. For
Okay.
sure. Because he's yeah, he like my I think Casey's wife is friends with him or knows him.
Oh, no way.
But that's so funny you say that. That is a good call. So that's the first thing that hit you?
Totally. Like I wasn't really sure where to place it, and then as it went on, especially with the vocal delivery, I was like, this definitely reminds me of the early, like pre-Geert Shai Hulud stuff.
Both.
But I really dug it, and it was way I can hear what you were saying about the recording quality and stuff, and it just sounding really good. With you saying 96 and stuff, I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
all of that much from that front, especially when we're talking about like hardcore and stuff.
Yeah.
But it really shined, I think, on this.
That's awesome. That's all. So you thought the production like not embellished it, but it worked for the music. Like it made
Yeah,
it have the right aggression that worked.
you could certainly overproduce something like that, and it didn't
Sure.
sound overproduced. It sounded raw but polished at the same time,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that does. And it's funny listening to it now, like on the studio speakers. Like, man, the drums they're kind of understated, right? Like, it's not like out in front, but what he's playing is great.
Hmm.
It's kind of almost like laid back drums, in like not a tribal, but I don't know, backbeaty way. Always love the drums, but they're not in your face,
No, no, not at all.
you know.
I was trying to think about it. I had a hard time coming up with band comparisons because I had a hard time figuring out exactly if you were to put on your genre hat, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
where you would be guiding this
I
to.
think it was the same when they were around. They would play with like Harvest but they're not like those bands.
It it definitely like hardcore is the most like obvious one, but it's way heavier and more technical than that. I guess it's like, but it's not metallic hardcore, but
Right.
it's
No, that's the
somewhere in
thing. Yeah,
there.
the riffs are not heavy. They're not metallic riffs. There's playing octaves and stuff and like, yeah, no, I totally agree. It's an interesting combination because it feels heavy, but they're not really playing heavy stuff. But for me, the vocals are where he's almost rapping, right? Like, I mean, he's rapping. And
That's
he's
90s for sure.
so like, that's what I always thought he was kind of. And when he sings, he's kind of doing like a rap stand, like he's with a hat on. I love him. Like just hearing it now, it just made me so happy.
So when this came out, was this like a pretty drastic game changer for people in the know? Was this like a slower burn kind of deal?
I think it was kind of just like their next step. Like I don't think it was like some big smash thing or like, oh man, have you heard that? But like people love this record for sure. Like they were around at that time because it was just so creative. Like we're saying, it's not like it's heavy, but it's not metal and it's not tough guy. It almost feels more like a DC band or something. It almost has that more of a feel. And so it's cool. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I don't know if but they play big shows.
Mm.
Like they played Lifetime's last show.
Oof.
They were friends with Lifetime. They were
Did you
pretty close to that band.
did you say that they were ended up on Relapse? Is that what you said?
The Burnt by the Sun was on Relapse.
Oh, not this band. Okay, I was gonna say if this band was on Relapse, then
They
like that would mean they were
did the
very
next
big.
one on Trustkill, which Trustkill was a big label, and I feel like again, like they played. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but I think they played some big shows, like Disembodied, and they were in that whole kind of world, you know.
Did they do? Was there much after this album in terms of
So,
the band?
and then they did the next album that I was talking about, and that was it. Like, and I don't remember why they broke up, but I know Mike was like big school guy, so he might have like had to move to go to grad school or something like that. But they did Burnt by the Sun. I can't remember how quick. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years later, maybe even two
Oh,
years later.
okay. Bit of a buffer
Uh,
though.
yeah, yeah. So it wasn't a really long-lived band, but they were. I think they started in like '94, so they were kind of in that early scene, which
Hmm.
at the time felt like a lifetime away. Like '98 and '94, like what was going on musically was so different. I don't know. It just felt like a different time. Like that, '94, like Indian Summer were still playing.
Yeah, I think Honeywell and stuff like
Yeah,
that when I
exactly.
hear, yeah,
Exactly. That's
yeah.
exactly what I mean. It's just like I always felt
Shotmaker.
like those bands were before us, like
Yeah, no, totally. That's yeah, no, I totally agree with that. There's like this like preemptive
yeah.
almost accidental movement from like 92 or 3 and
Yeah,
like Mohinder and all that
yeah,
stuff. And
exactly. Exactly.
it all kind of like in like maybe like 97 or so it kind of started to explode outwards
Yeah,
and you had other bands like I don't know like Closure and stuff like
exactly.
that,
I
Seisha,
love Closure. Oh my God, I love Closure. They were
you and
like a real
I.
band. Yeah, I always felt like Closure were like a real band. Like, oh man, they're so professional. I don't know, I love that band.
I've got to throw 2 cents in there. I've talked about this before. If you were to go back and listen to like the early screamo from 90 to 98, we'll say, I think no band encapsulates what people are trying to do now better than Closure.
Then
That's
Closure.
yeah, if
Now
you
you think?
yeah, like if you release Closure this year, people would be like, that's one
Okay.
of the best screamo albums of this year.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, they had it down. Like they're not formula in a bad way, but like their I guess it was yeah, their arrangements were super good. Like they were
Their
smart.
approach.
Yeah, they were smart.
Yeah.
They were just their riffs were smart, their arrangements were smart. They just were so impressive. Like
Maybe one of the
I think
reasons why it
they're
transcends till now.
and they were a big influence on JFFB for sure.
That doesn't surprise me at all. That's what I
I mean, I
mean.
think
Like,
everybody says that, but I mean, I can't speak for the guys before I was in the band, but I think that's kind of what I had in mind when I kind of joined the band, like a heavier Closure.
yeah. And I
Because I
feel like
definitely,
Closure is like the extension of where Portraits of Past were taking it. It's like, oh, we're
yeah,
gonna take it here, and then Closure was like, again,
that
more
band was
like,
so ahead of their time. It's like astonishing.
yes,
Like, because right after that, they did the audience, which was like a art band. It was like an art rock or something. Like they were done with that sound like right away.
I think that's the turning point. We're talking about this like things
Yeah.
before in like the 94 versus like 97, 98. I truly believe that the Portraits of Past like that would predate like the Seisha thing, right? So
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny
I
though
think
because
that's probably the one.
I don't know if Clark from Ebullition always says like when he put that album out, like no one really cared, and then literally like I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, like everybody was obsessed. So I don't know what happened, but man, that record honestly so incredible. I listen to it now; it's still so great, so great, right? Like it's so astonishing that they just
Yeah.
nailed, it.
Yep. No, the review that I read on Interpunk when I was searching for through reviews just to see the word screamo or any band that I would recognize, it was
Right.
throw away your Thursday records. This is emo, and I was like, oh,
Who
okay.
wrote that? That's
Some
wow.
rando on Interpunk, and it was like
And
one of
dude,
the most
are we
important
friends
reviews
with
I ever read.
Thursday? I'm not even trying to throw shade on Thursday. I love you, Jeff.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
for sure.
Thursday guys.
Same
But
boat.
that is kind of the whole point of all this, right? It's like, yeah, dude, if you like Thursday, you need to check out. And Jeff, he always tells what influenced him. He always gives
Oh
props to
yeah.
everything.
Oh
Jeff's
yeah.
cool. Jeff's
No.
always been cool. The last you and I show is at Jeff's house.
What? I did not know
Yeah.
that. Do
Yes,
you,
he put that show on.
do you know that he started a screamo band?
Jeff,
Yeah, do you know United Nations?
that's like the dude from Glassjaw or something. Am I
That's
tripping?
yeah, he was in like like first iteration and then
Okay.
after that I believe he was out and they got other people. I saw them play in Toronto in like 2014 or something like that.
Was it cool?
It was awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
It was weird to meet Jeff Rickley, and
I
they
haven't
only.
seen him in so long. I would love to see him, but he was always such a just a great guy. He's a smart guy too, you know.
Oh yeah, you can
Yeah,
tell by the lyrics and stuff like
Thursday
that.
opened for Neil Perry a couple times. A
Sorry, what was that?
couple times.
What was it?
Thursday opened for Neil Perry at least twice.
Was
And
this
when I
like
say
porcelain
opened,
days?
I'm being like facetious, like I'm fucking around, but like, yeah, they played our show a couple times.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I don't know if they were, I think Jeff was a fan, but I don't know if the rest of the band was.
Ah,
Anyway,
ah.
I love Thursday. Funny thing about Neil Perry is like we were friends with so many different bands. Like I've known the Circa guys forever, so like we were kind of looked at as kind of like the scrub band. You know what I mean? Like we were like kind of like the joke of not a joke, but like we weren't really taking that seriously amongst like our friends, you know, because like we were just playing basement to three people. You know, they were doing big tours. But it's just funny. Like we always you know, we were friends with everybody, but we were just kind of like the bums, you know.
Well, there's the aesthetic behind those things, right? Like Thursday has a very like specific aesthetic and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it does not, come down to long song titles and like having
No,
fun. It's like being
right.
sad and angry and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know their first couple records were great. You know they did a great job of kind of did like they were kind of like the hardcore Smiths, like that was kind of their thing, right? And they did that so well.
Whoa, I've never heard that before. That
Oh,
is such an accurate. Holy
that
crap.
thing, dude! Like in all the basement shows in New Brunswick, dude, in between bands, you'd hear the Smiths. Like that was a big thing around my time. Like, and I got into it way later, but like, yeah, the Smiths were enormous influences on all these bands. So there you go, hardcore Smiths.
Interesting. Okay. I certainly
And
don't
if
hear
you
that.
listen to that record now, you'd be like, oh shit, that is kind of like Johnny Marr.
Well, as soon as you said it, like Rickley's vocals in particular, the singing is
Yeah,
what really
yeah,
reminds me most of that. So
it's so
yeah,
cool.
no
I should
doubt.
listen to that shit again, man. I haven't listened to that in so long.
So let's conclude the Endeavor talk. What else did you want to say about them? And then play me a closing track here.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. Like again, like the whole dynamic. Mike Olander, the singer, really makes his lyrics as well, like are just really smart and great. And I just think it just makes it separates it. It separates it for everything else from that time. Even bands like you were saying, like that had the metallic sound. There were a lot of kind of semi-political bands, but this dude is not messing around. Like this dude means what he's saying. You know, it's really it's like inspiring. You know,
I think one
so
takeaway for me here too is when I go down, sit down to listen to this before we have the next podcast, is that I should have the lyrics pulled up while I go through and listen to
and
the album.
I should have done that too to bring more attention to it. But definitely, he, like I said, a million. He's a smart guy, and you know, he's really passionate about what he's saying. Like he's not just doing it just because he needs lyrics for a song. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
which I love. I love the passion. You know, it's what it's all about. You know. So the second song, I'm trying to figure out what would be a good second song. Let's try. All right, so the other song I was going to say is called Refuge. It's number 6, and it intros with a vocal. And honestly, this is like one of the greatest songs ever recorded right here. Intro with a vocal into the song with a brutal riff, and it's like a minute long.
Oh
Like, come
man,
on,
nice
get
and
right.
quick.
I love minute long songs. Yeah.
All right, well, I guess
All
we'll
right,
jam it and come back in a minute.
all right, let's check it.
Yeah, that was even better than the first one.
That's awesome.
Um, and you're right. The vocal lead-in is
Right?
it's very,
Dude,
very nice.
first time I heard that, I'm like, what? Like, oh, it's so like, dude, you can hear it. I love this fucking shit. So it's so good, man.
There's a
What is
very in Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you about the arrangements. Like, I'm a big arrangement guy, as you know. Like, is it apparent that the arrangements are being thought out in a smart way, or is it just a song?
You give me too much props because I know nothing about like musical
Well,
theory and stuff like that.
they repeat a lot of parts. Like, there's a very distinct bridge.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes, man, sometimes I pay attention to it, whether I don't think ever on purpose, and sometimes it just I don't even notice.
no,
And
no,
this
yeah,
was one where I didn't notice, and it might have been because it's a minutes long song, so like
right,
the things are
right,
happening pretty quickly. It's
yeah,
when
yeah,
you have like a pop song that has like a verse, chorus,
right,
verse, bridge, and then I'm like, oh, then it's way more obvious. So
right.
I would what I was gonna say is that like what I could really hear there was a very interesting mix of almost like I don't really know which words to be using here, but like it had almost like an old school like punk hardcore feel at
Yeah,
times, and then it's like no, here's like a chuggy breakdown part, and I was
yeah,
just like whoa, like they're really like on two sides of the fence, just like breaking
totally.
through said fence, running
Yeah,
back and forth.
yeah.
It
I
was a
love
very cool mixture that my brain kind of wasn't ready for the switches, and that is in no way a knock. If anything,
it.
it's props.
Yeah,
It would catch me off guard, even if we're talking about the arrangements being sound like you were saying they were relatively simple in terms of uh, how they were put. But like it was jarring. It still surprised me, and in a minute you can like that was a lot of ground covered.
that's cool. That's awesome. Well, that's cool. Then I think the point was definitely across. Like, I think that's totally what they're all about, you know? Like, you're not trying to go through the part so fast where it's like, oh, I want to start it again, kind of thing. But it's more just like, it's a minute long song. Like, what can you really do in a minute? And they back it well. Like,
I should also mention it wasn't just jarring, but it did flow well, like which is in itself
oh,
perhaps
yeah,
an oxymoron, but I think that's one of the reasons why I tend to not notice first chorus when it's either not obvious or
yeah,
it just flows so well that my
yeah,
brain's not even picking up that that's what's
yeah,
happening.
yeah. That's cool. No, I was just curious because I noticed listening here. I'm just like, you know what? That's like a pretty like nice arrangement laid out like in a short song like that. Because when I hit the bridge, I'm like, oh wow, bridge is happening right. That's just the way I hear music, I guess.
Well,
So I was like,
yeah,
oh,
like
coming in, perfect.
I think that's really cool too, because we come at it from very different perspectives. Like, music in that sense, and I grew up just listening to music and
Yeah,
having no idea
yeah,
about the rest of it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
But
both
that's
sides.
cool though, in a way because you could just go off. It's not a brain thing. It's more just like a reaction.
Emotion, feel. Yeah, no, totally, totally.
Which
But when
is
you're
a
trying to
great way to
write, it's a bit of a roadblock.
Yeah, yeah, and you want to experience music emotionally too. You don't want to be thinking about it all the time. It can get ridiculous with that stuff. Like, oh, that's a fifth. Like, who cares what it is?
I've heard people say that just and be like, it doesn't help me to know that stuff. Sometimes
Ridiculous.
I try to forget it almost.
I was listening to Chris Conley from Saves the Day talking about how he writes music, and it was all that theory stuff. He's a
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a he's genius. Like, he's such a brilliant songwriter. But I was just like, I can't listen to this. Like, it just I'm not interested in.
It saps the emotion out of it for me.
Yeah, I'm
It
just
makes
not
it
smart enough, to be like,
robotic.
oh, yo, he's doing that. He's doing that Mozart thing. I've tried
Yeah.
many times. It just doesn't. I don't know. My brain just doesn't work.
Yeah. I just don't have the knowledge to even do
Yeah,
it. So that works out. It's just like whoosh,
switch it up
whoosh.
like that so quick. Some people are just like, oh, dude, it's so easy. Like, it's just blah blah blah. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's not
Yeah,
that
but I
big.
didn't learn this when I was 7. You got to
Yeah,
understand
exactly. I wish I
that.
did. I wish I did. I don't know if it'd be any easier, but would have been great.
Yeah, no, I second that.
So
All right, well,
I'm stoked to hear what you're gonna bring to the table here, my friend.
something very different. And
Cool.
I'm actually okay. I was telling my wife today, I had to kind of semi break my rule here.
Okay.
I am gonna do something. I think it'll be the only time I ever do this. I'm going pre 2010.
Ooh, I
Uh,
like it. I like
because
it.
when we spoke last episode, I was given some information by you that just I couldn't sleep. I couldn't
What?
sleep knowing that you don't really know La Quiete.
Okay.
So
Okay. Did we
it
talk about it in the last episode?
briefly being
Okay.
Neil Perry and La Quiete are the two best screamo bands ever.
Wow.
So the fact that you don't know this is both mind-boggling and shameful, Josh.
Well,
Shameful.
I'm trying
They
to
were
look it
around
up.
at your time,
Damn, that's
but
wild.
well, we were talking about geography before, and like they were from Italy, so you know,
Oh,
I'll cut you some slack there.
interesting. Interesting. So how did you find out about that?
I read a Heart Attack zine,
Whoa, really?
and they reviewed a La Quiete AC Milan or MC Milan split or something, or Million split. I think it was that one.
Interesting.
Maybe it was Katina Collapse. I'm not sure, but it was one of their 7 inches splits, and they were like, if you like, so in the early days, do you know Standstill from Italy?
I don't think I know
Spain,
any really hardcore at
Spain.
all.
They were getting like they were like the European Seisha. They got like relatively big in the screamo scene, and I just remember seeing like for fans of Jerome's Dream, Seisha, Standstill, and I was like sold. So I got the
Cool.
7 inch, and it blew me away. To this
Wow.
to this day, there's nothing that it really even comes close to this. I know a lot of people love Rain. I love Rain. Rain is very
Okay.
good.
I
Uh,
know that band. I know. I don't know if I've heard it though.
See, yeah, that's why I had to do this. I
Okay,
couldn't do anything else. I'm like, this is
cool.
wrong.
So what? So are they still going? Like, were
No,
they?
no.
Okay.
They much like Rain is like still active. They released like 2014, and again they had like the Ampere split that
Okay.
came out in whatever year that was, 2014, 2015. Um But La Quiete at one point shared the drummer with Rain. Uh,
Oh,
it was like those two were kind of like the big two in Italy. Rain had their own kind of like almost like a dreamy shoegaze variety of screamo in like an Italian way, but La
wow.
Quiete was more frantic, but in the same way maybe a little less heavy. Like there's no chugs. You want to chug? You might as well throw
Interesting.
this album in the trash because it's not going to do that. It's way prettier. It's really fast. The vocals are phenomenal.
Wow.
Uh, this came out initially on 10 inch, and I got it, and I was like, "Oh, this doesn't sound very good." And then they
Huh.
re-released it as a 12 inch, so
Really?
I got the 12 inch, and it was because this was pre-internet stuff. So like I've my copy on the computer until I ended up getting the CD was a rip from my own record. So getting the 12 inch was a huge game
So it
changer.
sounded that much different?
It was so much different.
Do you think it was just the mastering? I don't
It
think I've ever experienced that much of a difference between the two
I
mediums.
know. I know. It was
Mastering. They were trying to cram too much on a 10 inch.
it it
That's
it's
interesting.
I feel like it's probably both of those things, to be honest.
Okay.
I feel like it wasn't the proper master, and I feel like it must have been crammed, or else why would they bump it to a 12 inch?
That's really,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I think you make a good point. It's also cheaper, I think, to make LPs than 10 inches. I could be wrong about that.
Especially maybe at that time too. So
Because Hot Cross did that too. We did like the 10 inch and then we did the LP later, which I don't really know why. Anyway, it's not
so
true.
I
I
should
just thought
probably
of that.
talk about the name. This is called Le Fin no et la fin. The
Can
end
you,
is not the end.
can you spell it real quick, please?
Oh, it's backwards.
Oh,
Sure.
okay. I know that. I know that band, sort of. I know that name for sure. So let's see here.
They released a
Were they
ton of
around,
splits.
were
They
they
were like,
around when Hot Cross was around?
yeah, it was like
For,
2001 to
dude,
2008.
I spelled it. I spelled it. Oh, there I go. I got it. Okay. Formed in okay, I got it. All right, for 2000. All right. So what record are you Oh, the one you just held up. Duh. All
The
right. So
their only actual album. They have like EPs and splits coming up, but comp tracks.
so
They're all compiled on this like
the one that came out in 2004.
yes, that's this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what I'll do, so a few other things that I'll say about it too, before I perhaps forget
Yeah,
is I
yeah.
named a song after this album. The very last song that my band I was in the world that summer, uh, I was the vocalist, so I was like, "Oh, this is the last song that we're ever writing." So,
Wow,
but it's
cool.
not like going to be the end for anyone kind of like doing the music thing. So that's why I called it that. And then what was the other thing I was going to say about this? See, this is why I was worried I was going to forget. Oh, I saw them. I saw them play. They came to the US. I saw them in Cleveland in like
Oh,
2007, 2008 on a Phoenix
yeah.
Bodies tour. And I saw them play
Cool.
with Storm of the Bastille and Ed Gein in the hottest
Whoa.
box ever. And it will go down as the best show I've ever seen.
Dude,
Just,
Ed Gein, man. I forgot about them. They were
d-
fucking good.
dude, it was
They
that
were good.
they played last and like everyone left. And there was
No way.
15 people. And this again, kind of like
How do
not
you say
pre-internet, but
LaQuette? LaQuette?
La Quiete? Here, I'll write it on
La
here for you.
Quiete. I'm way off. I'm way off. La Quiete. So were people like, did they come to see them or they were just on the tour?
I don't know.
Okay.
I came in from Canada, so like my wife and I didn't know anyone. We got to know Phoenix Bodies and La Quiete while we were there because we talked to them. But like I don't think I talked to any other human there.
What were you doing in the area of Cleveland? Like just in
Lisa's parents live in the US. They moved there when she
oh,
was finishing up elementary school, so we
that's
were
awesome.
kind of
So
like
you're in
already in
Ohio?
the area. It's like 2 hour drive.
You were oh okay, cool. That's awesome. I was just curious. Okay,
Yeah,
badass.
yeah, absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. Um,
I'm
yeah.
looking at their discography here. Oh, okay. So it looks like they did something with Electric Human Project.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Do you know Mike at all? Mike Haley from Electric Human? I haven't seen him in forever, but apparently he's around. I saw Larry from JFFB. He said he's still doing shit. I can't find him online though. All
I'll have
right,
to
cool, man.
check.
I'm stoked to check this out because I do have a little reference point. I do remember this band, but I think they probably have changed sound since I don't know.
I
I
f-
guess I'll find.
I feel like everything pointed towards this album. Everything that they did was leading up to this, and then they did this, and then I'm pretty sure they lost a member, and then their vocal style really changed from like the full-on scream to like a yell, and it's like the last EP is okay.
It's tough
Uh
to change a vocalist, man. That's tough.
and oh, that was the other thing I was gonna say. The song we're gonna listen to first, Super Omega, is a song that one of my projects covered. So doing that was so fun because the lyrics that they have written down definitely were not what was being screamed because I tried looking at it. So what I did was I wrote down what it sounded like he was screaming, and then I did that screaming for my
One
version of this song.
question that I have right off the top is it's interesting. There's only two songs in English and the rest are in Italian, I would assume.
Yes,
I
I
wonder
feel
why
like
that is.
I feel like my wife may have even she did she translated everything for me as well.
Damn, dude, I'm
So
impressed.
that's always very helpful.
Damn, he knows what's
Um,
going on. Holy shit. Perfect. Which song? The one you meant? Oh, Mega, right? Super Omega?
What'd
Dude,
you
I
think?
love it. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And right away, love the recording. Like, of course, I'm gonna comment on that.
No
Love the
way.
recording. The production was awesome. Like right when it came in, I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this. Super. All right, let's see what my notes are here. Um, I liked it right away. Super smart guitars throughout the whole song. Like really smart. You know, you could just tell they worked all that out. Cool, subtle stuff going on underneath other stuff. That was really cool to add cool melody and really really cool. um the vocals were cool. I think it fit it well. I think it could have been a little louder for me. I'm not like a big like bury the
Nah,
vocals guy.
nah, nah. You gotta be
I'm
partially
not a big
buried.
bury the vocals guy, but some people like that. But then again, with some reverb, you turn up loud, you might hate it.
Exactly.
um but I love that first break was really cool where everything cuts out. Thought that I'm a big like guy for the transitions and stuff. Like just try to be as creative as you can with that stuff. I love that shit. That was really cool. And then the bridge I thought was really good, which kind of ended up being the outro of the song, like how they just played that out.
Yeah,
Great
that
part.
really pretty part. Yeah.
Really good. I
Really
liked it. It was
groovy
good.
at the same time.
Dude,
Yeah.
I would have been a fan of this for sure if I heard it. I don't know if I heard it back then because 2004 I was still kind of around doing stuff. So
Now, I am under the impression I could have sworn that I saw someone who had like a demo tape, and there was a note in the demo tape to a member like of Neil Perry, or maybe it was like level playing, just saying that like they were influenced by Neil Perry and they loved
really,
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
that is funny. You don't know for sure,
I
or
I feel like I'm 90% sure I
that's
saw it. And I
so
remember being
cool.
like, wow, Neil Perry influenced La
That
Quiete.
is
That actually makes
hilarious.
sense.
That's cool. That's cool. No, that's funny. I mean, I think like I said, the a melody and just the way they kind of approach the song, I thought was really smart and good. So that's a compliment. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, the well, I think okay, so let's take a look at older screamo, let's say. Now, there was the early stuff definitely has like dynamics and stuff, but I feel like
Yeah,
it's still a bit boxed in, and maybe the recording like the actual recordings have something to do with that. But I think bands like Neil Perry and La Quiete and Rain and those kind of bands. And I guess you could probably very easily argue you and I really like pushed that box or like blew it up
definitely.
or like opened it up and we're like injecting way more melody without it being like simplistic, like in no means by what I
Yeah,
say that, but like that amalgamation of these like different styles all coming together to create something new that kind of sounded like those other things, but just ended up being a totally new creation. At least that's how I heard
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I think when you're doing melody with this kind of stuff, like you have to kind of be specific with how you want to use it. You know what I mean? And I think the bands that kind of did it a certain way, I guess, like Neil Perry, I guess, kind of did, which really was just like Portraits of Past, kind of. But that you can use it in a certain way, like Jerome Stream, like they're not really melodic band, but they use a lot of dynamics in a cool way where it kind of sounds like melody almost, because just like it's a clean guitar chord kind of thing. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
totally.
they're a big dynamic band, but I think it always kind of felt a little melody, but not like this, not like we just heard.
Yes, definitely. There's like this entire album is just it's all so
I'm gonna
good.
check it all out for sure.
They've
I
got
mean,
they had a split with Louis Cypher. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, like that was
that
a
was the
really
one
big
that I
one.
think Mike Haley did, I think.
Oh, okay, sweet. Oh, yes, yes, yes. The one with like the drawn bicycle people on
Yeah,
bikes and stuff like that. Yes,
yeah,
I'm like
exactly.
90. And then who had the Shikari split? That was Louis Cypher Shikari.
They did
Okay.
a Chicago. Oh, they did it. Yeah, I
No,
like.
not that one. You said enter the Shik, and then you're like, no, no, no.
No, Shikari. We actually play with them in Europe when we went over there.
Oh,
Yeah, dude, I have a Shikari shirt.
I heard they were so
They were
good.
so awesome, dude. And they were just super cool guys. Like they're German, right? German? I can't fucking remember now.
I think that's right. I think that's right.
Because I think Greg did that 7 inch. I think Level Plane did a 7 inch. Like we were stoked to hook up with them. They were really good. They were really, really fucking good. That's awesome. Good
Oh
old
yeah.
Chicago. That's cool.
So yeah, so there's a lot of La Quiete splits. They're all compiled on this thing called like Ten Palm or something
Okay.
like that. I strongly recommend that. So like tracks like Black Flowers for Ivan Illich and stuff like that are just like so good. They're songs that if they were to show up on this album would have been some of the best songs. So like
Really?
there's
Okay. So the
yeah.
the sound like developed as they went a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. If you were to like list the discography from start to finish, especially chronologically, you would be like, wow, you really hear like the shifting and stuff like
Okay.
that, especially when you get to the very end when there was a member change and stuff. But
I'll definitely check that out because I always like that for bands. Like whenever I check out new bands, I always start from the very beginning.
I am the same way. I am the same, exact same way.
It's kind
I
of
doing it any other way, I think is just incorrect.
yeah,
You're
and,
wrong.
it's not like even if they had a bad record in the beginning, like dude, you're gonna like them more because they went from this to that. It's
Exactly.
kind of that
Yeah,
reflection.
if you can persevere through the early years, you will only be rewarded because not many
Yeah,
bands start, perfect and then just disintegrate as, that
yeah,
can happen later on, but usually not from the
yeah,
start kind of thing.
yeah. Yeah, like the progression's got it. I just really feel strongly about that. Like even bands that are like we talked about it with the Jerome Stream, like I really would love to see them take it to the next step, like just don't do the same thing. Like do you have your sound and just go in a little bit of a direction with it, work with a big time producer, see what happens.
Did you hear
Don't
the new
change the band.
did you hear the new Drum Street that came out
Uh
last year?
what's the new yeah, the one that he did with Jack Shirley? It's a white cover. I
Yeah,
think I
yeah, yeah. There's
I
like
liked it.
two new ones. There's one
Okay.
before that was meh. I think it was a self-title, and then this new one. Oh my God, what's it called? But yes, it's the white cover one.
I
It
thought
is.
it was good.
I recommend you re-listen to it because you talk about like Jerome's Dream doing the thing, but like adding to it. I totally think the new record
Really?
is like that.
Really?
They switched a guitar player. They basically got a
Yeah.
second guitar
Yeah.
player. The original guitar player left. The second
Yeah.
guitar
Nick
player
was in
became
there.
the
I
only
love him.
guitar player, and like they played ZBR Fest the day
That's interesting.
after that record released, and it was unbelievable,
Interesting.
unbelievable.
Okay, I gotta listen to it again. No, I liked it. It was good. But I've always been a Jerome Stream fan. Like I had all the records before I even knew the guys.
Hmm.
I gotta listen to it again. No, it just sounded like it was like a better recording, and they kind of honed their sound a little bit more, like with all the dynamic stuff was
Hmm.
really cool. But I gotta listen to it again. It didn't sound too different from the other stuff, but I should check it out.
I'm also vocals first guy, and you basically
Okay.
have a completely new
Yeah.
uh vocals in that
These
release.
definitely better.
It was super shrieky, and then it was yelled through a
Yeah,
megaphone, and
yeah.
now it's in between.
Yeah, so you like these better.
Better than the megaphone
Yeah.
vocals, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was yeah. Ba 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 ba.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
remember
just
going
wasn't for
on.
me.
Yeah.
Not
It was
bad.
a
It
little
just
weird. I kind of got why they were doing it at the time, but like I think they obviously they went back to the other shit. So they were just like, yeah, we're not
yeah.
doing
I had Jeff on the podcast. He was like, when I got to the new stuff, actually after they recorded the 2018 album or whatever that was, the
it.
comeback
Okay.
album, they never, I don't think they ever even played shows with that album where he was doing those vocals. When they started playing live, it was just like, oh, I'm just screaming now. So they actually
Yeah.
re-recorded or re-released one song from that album with screaming vocals instead of the yelly vocals, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is
That,
amazing! Like, please
that
keep
is
doing
funny.
this." And then he did. And everyone was very happy. But it was definitely one of the best releases I thought from last year. Yeah, check it out again. It
No,
might not be the
I
step
liked it.
that you want, but it's a
I
step.
definitely thought it was good. I wasn't sure if it was like, wow, this is a much better, different album. But I gotta check it out. I'll check it out again.
Yeah.
I like the
And,
recording though.
and keep in mind that the guitar player is like just totally different. It's the guy
That's the
who's
dude
been
from
in
Lone
Loma
Star, right?
Prieta for the whole
Yeah,
time. Sean Leary.
yeah. That was, and because they're from like San Francisco, so I guess it just worked out. Yeah,
Yes.
it bummed me out when I found out Nick wasn't in the band because I like Nick a lot, but I get it with the whole, he's in Connecticut. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
it's a
I don't
nightmare.
know how that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I don't even know
Um,
how they even tried to do it.
So let's do one more from
Yeah,
this release, and then
awesome.
we'll call it a day.
Cool.
Let's go with the opener. The opener is great. Air raid in the land of butterfly. So
Yeah, this is really good. I gotta listen to the whole record. It's really good. It's
yeah,
not at all what I thought it was going to be like. I mean, it's just I think it's just better than I thought it was going to be. This is really good. I like it.
the dynamics and just
Yeah.
like it's kind of like they had so many possible decisions that they could have made regarding how to take the song, and I think like every one was the perfect right decision.
Yeah, yeah, no, like again, like you can tell that it's smart stuff. Like it's well thought out, like arranged. The guitar stuff's really cool, and I like the sound of the guitar. You
Yes,
know,
it's that Italian sound, man.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like the recording guy knew how to make it sound. Because sometimes with this music, you never know. They don't know what the hell to do with it. But yeah, it's because it's not too much distortion on the guitars, right? Like the guitars are kind of subtle, but it works perfect.
Yeah, when they come through with any of the cleans, it's just
Yeah,
like it's I don't even know. It's just ear candy. Like I love it. And the melodies that they use with those with the tone that they've got, it's just perfect. And the lead in when they like are coming back in and the vocalist is like the drum fill and the vocalist goes ooh ah,
yeah.
and then it comes oh
Yeah, it's good. And again, well, like you said with the transitions, there's a lot of really good transitions in this one too. And that's what it's all about, just to make that all fun and impactful, to try to impact all the next parts.
all in a minute and a half with like a 20 seconds feedbacky
I
intro
like
too.
that
So it's
we're
like a
playing
minute
it.
10.
I like that. I like that. There's no reason to make these kind of songs super long. There's just no reason to do it. You know
There's
what I mean?
one longer track. It's the fourth track,
I see
and
that.
it's essentially the last minute and a half is one riff repeated, and
Wow.
it's such a beautiful riff that I actually wish it was repeated for
That's
longer.
cool. And
So
that's obviously the end of the first side, it looks like.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So I get that. That's
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check out this whole thing for sure.
truly one of the best bands to
Did
ever
they
do it.
do anything else after? Like, was there like a band that they played with a lot? Like, was there a scene for them or no?
Rain is your only really other bet there. The members, at least one member played in that band, similar style, similar tones.
And
Uh
then it was after this band?
yeah, like they released an album in 2014, which is like
Oh,
five
wow.
years after La Quiete disbanded. They did they did the split with Ampere like the year after
Okay.
that.
Wow.
Uh did something come out recently? No, but they're playing New Friends Fest. They're going to Toronto. They're playing Toronto, Ontario this summer, and I'm gonna go see them, and I'm gonna go ape shit.
Holy shit. They're
Yeah,
playing Toronto?
they are. T dot.
That's cool. What is that fest? I don't know what that fest is.
So, in like 2017, I did the first ZBR Fest in Toronto, and then I moved out of Ontario. So,
Okay.
like, I had like this pretty successful
I see.
like first fest, and then I like vacated the area. So like there was this
Yeah.
huge vacuum where like kind of, and
Yeah.
the people that I was friends with kind of came in and did their own festival, like completely different from ZBR, much bigger, more elaborate.
Wow.
And it has just been snowballing ever since. So like
That's pretty cool.
there's two big screamo festivals. There's the New Friends Fest in Toronto, and then we've got ZBR Fest in Chicago. There used to be some in like Germany and in Europe, and they've all pretty much concluded now. They're all done. I As far as I know, those are the only two like screamo fests that have
Hmm.
happened every year for the last while. There's
Huh.
Dilly Dally Fest, I think, is starting up. Is Dilly Dally or just Dally Fest? Dilly Fest? I don't remember. But like In Loving Memory played that fest, and I
Okay.
think Usurp Synapse played it too.
Really?
Um, that was this past year. So who knows what'll be 2025, but definitely ZBR and New Friends Fest will probably still be going strong. So
Crazy. That's cool. I can't. That's crazy. They're gonna come over here. Oh, that's cool. That's
that
awesome.
is, I agree, that's super
Well,
crazy.
this is the perfect band to show me because I definitely like this. This is good.
It's so
Definitely
good.
good. And it's pretty early on, right? Like 2004. Like that's
Yeah, yeah, like this is like early, this is maybe like second wave European screamo, like after the whole like Apoplexy Twist Orchestra. And actually no,
did
I
they
guess
ever
that's kind of the same time. Sorry, go ahead.
did they ever come to the US?
Yeah. Wait, which band?
La Quiete.
Yeah, that's where I saw them. I saw them in Cleveland. So they came, I think,
Oh,
just the one tour, but like there might have been one more. They were good buds with Phoenix Bodies.
okay.
And I still are to this day, as far as I know.
Where's
Um,
Phoenix Boys from? I remember them.
they are
Like,
from,
are they Midwest?
yeah,
I was just.
Indiana.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Indiana. Yeah,
Wow, that's funny. That's really
yeah.
cool.
Are you picturing them naked right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If memory
It's
serves
funny,
correct.
hearing about all these bands, like so many bands, and it's like, oh, Phoenix Bodies. I remember them. You said Ed Gein before. I haven't heard that name in forever.
Oh yeah, no.
It's crazy.
That's right when I jumped in. It was fantastic. The perfect
No, that's
time.
cool. That's
Talk about
cool.
time and place. That's what this episode should be called. Time
Yeah,
and place.
yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say? I thought that was a
No,
very
this was
successful
cool, man.
second episode.
This was a yeah, this was a cool one too because I think you dug Endeavor and I definitely dug this as well. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So the next one I got to think of something different to bring to the table. Maybe
I already,
something outside of New Jersey.
I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you
Okay,
some
cool.
youngins. There's some youngins taking over
That's
the game
cool.
right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Some
that's what I want to
teens.
find out because
So
Hal was asking me about that and I was just like, dude, I have no idea. Like I don't know anything about the new shit. So
don't worry.
bring,
I'll
bring it
throw them
on.
all over you
All right,
in a
cool,
couple
man.
weeks.
All right, cool. Well, this was fun as well, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.